Okay, welcome everyone. Welcome to Communication for a Peaceful Life. And we really could use a lot more peace in the world, wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely.
Yes, we could. So we need to be able to have a lot more peace, and it's really important that we can do that. And we need it now than more than ever. So I'm gonna mute you all, by the way. So I'm gonna get started. So thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your time. And my commitment to you is that this time that you spend with me, that we spend together, will be valuable to you because your time is priceless. There is no way that you can replace it. And so my commitment is that this time is so valuable that you have so much information that it can actually cause a transformation in your life. And that's my commitment to you. So that's my promise. And I'm so glad that you're here. We've got lots that we're going to go through today. Let me just start off with a little bit of a personal story about how I got started in studying communication. So it started for me really when well, first of all, I should say, I was the shy kid. Okay. So I was the one who was the tallest in the class. So I always sat in the back of the room. And I was the one who was always quiet. And I never wanted to get to the front of the classroom. No way. No way. There's just no way. I mean, Sister Mary Pilar embarrassed me in second grade at the front of the room. And I said, I'll never go to the front of the room. So Sister Mary Leocretia had another idea. So in seventh grade, Sister Mary Leocretia said, Reuben, you're just far too quiet and you need to be able to get comfortable with your voice. So I'm entering you in the speech contest at Loyola High School for all the Catholic schools. And so she got me an eighth grade coach who had been in the contest the year before. And I recited Mark Antony's oratory over Julius Caesar's body from Shakespeare. Friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your ears. I come not to praise Caesar, but to bury him. So that's how I got started in learning about communication. And I went on from there. And what was interesting when I got to college, I started getting involved in leadership. I actually, in my last 3 years of college, I was a disc jockey on the college radio station at Cal Lutheran University, KRCL, the sound of music on Saturday. So I had the sound, I had it going on. So I learned to be a speaker and a communicator, and it was really awesome. And then I stepped into student body leadership. And I started to see that there was a connection between communication and leadership. And I became a student of leadership. And that's been something that has been really in the background for me for many, many, many years. And it really makes a powerful difference. I studied leadership and I actually started to teach leadership. When I was doing my graduate work at UCLA, I actually helped Dr. Virginia Lee create a course on leadership for healthcare professionals at UCLA. And since she was gone most of the time, guess who taught it? It was me. So the thing is, I've been teaching healthcare professionals ever since 1987, and it's been really quite remarkable. I have been teaching communication as a part of teaching leadership. I stepped into healthcare administration starting in 1988, and I did that for many, many years, over 12 years, and then I went into consulting. Today, I'm actually an expert resource speaker for Vistage International, which is the world's largest CEO membership organization. So I speak for CEOs and executives all over the country, except right now because of COVID, we're doing it all virtually. So that's what's happening. And communication to me has always been one of the most important skill sets for leaders to develop themselves in. So I've been teaching communication for organizations and for leaders for many, many, many years. and I've been doing this, and I love being able to do this. I've also been in part of Toastmasters, and I've been part of my River City Speakers group since 1996. Yes, last century. That's how long ago it was. So I've been doing this for quite some time. And in 2002, my claim to fame, I actually was a semifinalist in the World Championships of Public Speaking with Toastmasters. Yes, applause, applause, applause. So anyway, that's how I've been a student of leadership and communication. And guess what? It makes a difference in terms of our health, because I've also been involved in lifestyle medicine. So it really makes a difference, because guess what? If we're stressed and our communication is poor and ineffective, and oh my God, it causes so much stress. And when it comes to our lives, stress is the killer. It really is. And so it is so imperative. And one of the areas of lifestyle medicine is healthy relationships. So I decided I would pass along this information. This is usually part of my training. This is part one of my corporate training program that I normally do. I normally charge my organizations that I come in to do communication training. I charge them $2,500 for this training that I'm going to share with you today. You're going to get it for free. Okay, so everybody can say, thank you, Ruben. Okay, so you're getting it for free today. Now, we're not going to be able to do the interactions as much as we could do if we did it in person, but it's going to be just really exciting for us to be able to do. All right, so now let's see here. A couple of things to set up. Let's see, I'm going to set up the chat window as well. All right, so if you are new to me, to Coach Ruben, to my webinars, any of my material, if you are new, please type in new in the chat window. Would love to just welcome you here. If you are from outside of California, all right, I'm in the Sacramento area of Northern California. So if you're outside of that region, then please type in where you're from. We'd love to welcome you from some places that are outside of the Sacramento region. So it's really great. I love being able to do this. It's just so much fun, so exciting. So really great. So welcome, Stephanie. Terry is new in California. Deanne, thank you. Yes. Stu and Norma, Boulder County. Yes, Colorado. I love Colorado. So that's a beautiful area. Modesto. Yes. All right. And then Rebecca, this is great. Your second session. Wonderful. Wonderful. Welcome. Bob from Chicago. Yes. Okay. So really great. I know Bob. Coachable Bob. All right. So it's really great. So welcome. Thank you for being here. We're going to have some fun. All right. Lake County, California. Love it. That's great. Beautiful area. Beautiful area. So we've got lots that we're going to cover today. Now, please feel free to use the chat window if you want to ask any questions. And I won't necessarily get to it right away. Okay, I can't promise you that. So I will get to all your questions periodically. So I will do that. We're going to stop every now and then and go through questions. So go ahead and ask your questions. Anytime you have a question, put it in the chat window. I will get to it, I promise you. And when we finish, I will stay on and answer all your questions. I'll make sure that all your questions are answered. I will stay as long as necessary to be able to do that, to make sure that everything is, that all of you are taken care of. So I love taking care of people. I got used to doing that because I have 4 boys myself. Okay, so I got used to taking care of people. So just so you know. So I'm very familiar with being able to take care of people. All right, so let's see. Let's get started with the PowerPoint. So I'm going to make a couple of adjustments here. Give me a moment. And then I've learned how to do this because I've been on Zoom now quite a bit these last several months. It's almost a whole year. All right, so, okay, so we're going to do this and this and this and this and click. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and share. So here we go. All right. Did I do it right? I think I did. Okay, so let's see. Okay, I think I got it. All right, so communication for a peaceful life. So I'm going to share with you some strategies today, some tools, some actual tools, some practices that can really make a difference. And we're going to talk about three major areas: listening, accountability, and connection. So a little bit about me, about my initials. So first of all, MPH does not stand for the speed that I drive my car. Just want you to know that. All right, it stands for Masters in Public Health. And I got that degree from UCLA back in 1988. And when I got done, I had a very important decision to make. Do I or do I not go back to medical school at UC Davis School of Medicine, where I had spent 3 years studying to become a physician? I realized at that point in 1988 that I was now passionate about promoting health and preventing disease, and I was no longer committed to treating disease. So as a result, I made a bold decision to not go back to medical school and to pursue studying lifestyle medicine on my own. Now, there was nothing called lifestyle medicine back then. I was ahead of my time. But in 2016, I went to a healthcare conference on nutrition, and lo and behold, they announced that there's a new branch of the American Medical Association. If you haven't heard of it, I got news for you: the American College of Lifestyle Medicine. It is so exciting. So an evidence-based approach to prevent, reverse, and treat chronic disease using lifestyle measures as opposed to medications. And guess what? We can do a better job in dealing with, in preventing, reversing, and treating chronic disease. So we use nutrition and physical activity, emotional well-being, alcohol and tobacco reduction, healthy relationships, hydration, and sleep. All of these are so important. And when we think of these as being the spokes of our wheel, so when we tune up all the spokes of our wheel, then what happens? Our wheel runs straight and true, and it works so much better. So this is what we're able to do in lifestyle medicine, and I love it, love it, love it. So I signed up right away back in 2016, went to my first lifestyle medicine conference in October 2017. I loved it. When I walked in, I thought I'd gone to heaven. It was amazing. And all these MDs, PhDs, health professionals from 38 different countries. It was extraordinary. And then they announced the opening of a board certification exam for physicians, being MDs and DOs, but also for professionals, for PhDs, and those with a master's in a health-related field. Well, that's me. So I signed up, studied for a year. In October 2018, went to my second lifestyle medicine conference in Indianapolis and passed my board exam. So I am one of just a few. There's only about 500 of us that are board certified in lifestyle medicine in the United States. I am so proud. I am so proud. I finally found my tribe. It took me 30 years to find my tribe, but I found my tribe, and it's extraordinary. In addition, just want to let you know, a recent development, I am also a member of the Institute of Coaching, a McLean Hospital and Harvard Medical School affiliate. So I'm also a distinguished member of that. So I love, love, love what I'm able to do. I get to live into this quote that Thomas Edison said well over 100 years ago, that the doctor of the future will give no medicine, but will instruct his patient in the care of the human frame, in diet, and in the cause and prevention of disease. Doesn't that make sense? It does to me. So I also want to let you know that I have absolutely zero, zilch, nada, no conflicts of interest whatsoever. No products, no gimmicks, no schemes, none of that. All right. So I am completely devoted to being able to provide education and make a difference for people in their lives. And people ask me sometimes, why do you do these for free, Ruben? Well, there's two reasons. One, I am passionate about eliminating chronic disease from the face of the planet. I can't do it alone. I can't do it alone. This is why lifestyle medicine so resonates with me, because this is what I believed in for so many years. And so this is what I'm passionate about. And second, I believe in the power of paying it forward. I think as adults, all of us have an inherent responsibility to make a difference in leaving a legacy for our children and our future posterity. We need to be responsible in how we leave this world. We're only here for a short period of time when you think about it. Are you going to leave this world better than how you found it? My opinion is absolutely yes. So that's what I'm out to do. And I hope you'll join me in being able to make this world a better place for our children and our grandchildren. I've got 4 boys, okay? So sooner or later, I'm going to have a lot of grandchildren. I am clear, okay? So anyway, that's just a little bit about me. I believe passionately that Virgil was correct when he said this well over 2,000 years ago, that the greatest wealth that any of us can have is our wealth. All right, so let me put that, oh, let me do this. Let me put the chat window over here. Okay, all right, great. Okay, now let's talk about communication. All right, sometimes it's frustrating. Haven't you noticed? I mean, it can be like this. I love using humor, by the way. So sometimes we have communication breakdowns, don't we? We have people that are expecting it to be in a particular way and it's not. And so they're asking it for it in a different way that they're comfortable with. And sometimes it's even worse than this. Have you noticed that sometimes people are actually screaming at each other and nobody's listening? Have you ever experienced that one before? Huh. Yeah, it happens a lot, doesn't it? Yes, we've been seeing a lot of this lately. It's been quite a bit. So we're going to cover a lot today. I can't cover everything. I just want you to know that. I can't. There's no way. My communication training program for leaders is extensive. It's extensive. We're talking about 24 hours worth of material. I've only got 2 today. So we're just going to basically get started. So this is my communication 101, but it's very powerful and it affects your health. So we're going to talk about the context for health, the framework, the paradigm in which communication rests. And then we'll talk about how communication affects our lives, and it really affects our health as well. And then we'll talk about why is it that we as human beings do not listen. Yeah, we're not wired to listen. We don't listen. And we're going to talk about 3 tools, 3 strategies for you to be able to listen much more effectively. And it's powerful when you start to practice this. Then we'll also talk about the language of accountability, very powerful. And we'll also talk about the languages of appreciation, something that's so missing in our world today. And we'll finish up by talking about how you can actually make the rest of your life the best of your life and how you can have a successful lifestyle change. No kidding, because information is great. And I'm going to provide you a lot of information today, but you've got to set the stage for you to be able to have a transformation. A transformation is when we actually shift the energy, we actually shift the results in a positive and new direction. That's a transformation. So my commitment to you is that you get the information today that will begin the process of empowering you to achieve a transformation in your life. All right, so I want you to also know I do not in any way, shape, or form claim to be an all-knowing expert. Forget that. All right, I am an all the time studying student. I've always been a student and I always will be. Dr. Glover mentored me well. He said, before I went to medical school, he said, Ruben, remember that about half of the information you learn while you're in medical school will be outdated by the time you finish medical school. And then the other half will be outdated shortly thereafter. So it's imperative that you become a student all the time. And I followed his advice ever since. So I am a student. I have many teachers, many coaches, and one of my teachers has some words of wisdom to impart to you right now. Some words of wisdom. I will invoke his spirit here right now. you must unlearn what you have learned. So I'm hoping you're willing to have an open mind, as Yoda suggests. So let's start with the context for health. And it begins with this quote from my dear professor, Dr. Michael Kalitsky. I share this in a lot of my seminars, but I want to share it with the spin on understanding the importance of communication, how it affects us. So Dr. Kalitsky said this one day in class. He said, remember that all of life is in one of two states at any given moment. Either it is surviving or it is thriving, and that's all there is. And when he said it, it shocked me and surprised me. I couldn't understand it. And I asked him about it, and he said, just sit with it, Ruben, you'll figure it out. I sat with it for 3 years. And finally, when I was in my first year of medical school, I was taking a class of embryology, and I started to connect the dots. Now, embryology is the study of the embryonic period of human development. So it's from the moment of conception to the point where everything is there, and now it just continues to get bigger. So we call that the embryonic period. After that, we call it a fetus. So this embryonic period pretty much correlates with the first trimester of a woman's pregnancy. So it's pretty amazing what happens in this period of time. It's extraordinary. So first of all, we start off looking like this. All right, this is a ball of cells, and all the cells are indistinguishable, and you can't tell them apart. But eventually the ball gets bigger with more and more and more and more cells, and it starts to fold inward, and then it forms a tube of cells. And this tube of cells will become the first organ system of the body to become distinguishable and operational. And guess what? It's the neural tube. So it becomes the brain, what we call the limbic brain, the central portion of the brain. So this is the primal brain. The primal brain is the limbic brain. So that's the amygdala, the hippocampus, the pituitary, the hypothalamus, all of those central features of the brain, and it's all connected to the spinal cord. So this is the central nervous system. Now, here's what the professor said that got my attention. He said, once this system is developed and then it's activated, once it's activated, it's on. It's on 24/7 for the rest of our lives. It's the first system on. It's the last system off. So this runs the show. This is running our bodies, whether we like it or not. Your heart beats all day, all night long. You don't have to think about it, do you? All right, this is all run by the central nervous system. So one of the things that he said, it's the electrical system of the body. Now, this is a fascinating idea and concept. He said, this is the electrical system. And just like any basic electrical system, it's got two currents. You've got a positive current, which is referred to as the parasympathetic branch of the central nervous system. And when the parasympathetic branch is on, it's affecting all the organ systems and all the cells in a particular way. So that's the positive current. Everywhere in the body, it's on, it's affecting every part of the body. The negative current of the body is the sympathetic branch of the central nervous system. Now, when it is on, it is affecting all the organ systems of the body and all the cells in the body in the opposite way. You see, these are polar opposite of each other. Now, here's what the professor said that really got my attention. He says, so once this system is established, we are operating either in the parasympathetic state or the sympathetic state. We can go back and forth between the two, but we do not operate both at the same time. That would cause a short. Aha. I got the or from Dr. Kalitsky, that we are either surviving in the sympathetic state or thriving in the parasympathetic state. And that's all there is. This is a powerful, fundamental concept in understanding our health, our happiness, our lifestyle. It really is. And we need to understand that when we're in the sympathetic state, we are reacting to stresses of any kind, physical, emotional, mental, or spiritual stresses. Those are the four dynamic human energies that we have as human beings. We all have these energies. Physical is our body. Emotional is how we feel. Mental is our way to think and solve problems. And spiritual is our motivation and commitment. So these four energies intertwine. And the thing about it is that we're in the sympathetic state whenever our central nervous system perceives a state of stress in any of those dimensions. So we're in the state of survival. We're operating from a very primal level, and we may recognize fight, flight, freeze, or fold as reactions, but even a perceived threat, just perceived, it's just very slight. That's enough to trigger our brain being in the state of fear and putting us into the sympathetic state. Now, this can happen with communication, can't it? Certainly can. It certainly can. And what we show in the literature is this, that the common thread of all chronic disease is being in the state of dis-ease far too much. You see, our body is designed to be in the sympathetic state only for short periods of time. It works really well for that. We run away real fast, whatever, okay? We find security, find safety, and then we're fine. I mean, if you look at all the gazelles out there in Africa on the savannah, all right, when a hungry lioness shows up, I mean, they all run very fast. And in 3 minutes or so, it's all over one way or the other. Okay, so the thing is, it's meant for us to be in the sympathetic state only for short periods of time. We end up being in the sympathetic state far too much. And this is one of the things that I tell people: you can eat all the healthy foods, you can do all the exercise, you can get your sleep, drink your water. But if you've got stress in your life because of breakdowns in communication, you're still going to be unhealthy. It's still going to affect you. And so we need to understand that. What lifestyle medicine fundamentally is all about is about empowering you to shift your central nervous system state from being predominantly in sympathetic to being predominantly in the parasympathetic state. Mm-hmm. See, if we can tip the scale and put the balance in such a way that you're in the parasympathetic state more of the time, then your body's operating from a state of peace and pleasure and restoration, digestion. You experience fun, play, and ease in your life. You begin thriving. And more importantly, you begin healing. Anything that's not working starts to heal itself. And the body can heal itself far better than any medications that are man-made. Far better, far better. And we start to experience a life that is truly powerful. It's a beautiful thing. It really is. Now, I have a seminar that I'm going to encourage you and invite you to check out if you haven't already. And that is the 5 secrets to living a thriving, healthy, happy life. How we have total control over our central nervous system with these 5 practices that I talk about. Now, everything affects our central nervous system. Everything. But I say that there are these 5 that we have control over that really make a profound difference if we start to practice them. So I'm going to give you this in a nutshell, and then we're going to dive into the second one. So the first is the thoughts that we think. Number 1 are the thoughts that we think. See, if we've got stinking thinking, as my old friend Zig Ziglar used to say, then we're going to be in the sympathetic state. So we have to practice the power of positive thinking, as Norman Vincent Peale taught me. So we need to practice positive thinking, and we can do that. Now, consistent with our thoughts are the words that we speak. You see, if we have complaints, if we're gossiping, if we're being negative, critical, cynical, skeptical, if we're doing all of that, we're going to be in the sympathetic state. And it's not only the words that we speak, but it's also the words that we listen to. Norman Cousins, who wrote the book, The Anatomy of an Illness, he spoke when I was at UCLA, and he said that because of this concept, he stopped watching the news. So for 38 years, I don't watch the news. I don't watch the news. Now, I find out what everybody finds out one way or the other. So it's important for us to really be mindful of the words that we speak. We're going to dive into this some more. Third are the actions that we take, because guess what? Actions speak louder than words, don't they? And if you're a parent, you already know this, because our children do not listen to us nearly as much as pay attention to what we do. So it's about living a life of integrity. That's what will keep us in the parasympathetic state. The fourth secret is the company we keep. Now, we have more research on this coming up all the time, but yes, it's true. We are definitely impacted by the 5 people we most associate with, but even more. Even more. We have research showing now that we're impacted by their friends and their friends. Like, it's several layers thick as far as how many people affect us. So it's very important for us to be mindful of who we associate with. And then the fifth element that really affects our central nervous system, this is the one that most people are basically surprised at, but it's the food that we eat, because we eat all the time and we need it for energy. And guess what? Food affects our central nervous system. Are you kidding me? Yes, it does. Yes, it absolutely does. The food that you eat, yeah, I got news for you. It's either going to put your body in the sympathetic state, or it's going to put your body in the parasympathetic state. Yes, the food that you eat is either going to contribute to your health and your vitality and energy, or it's going to slowly kill you. It's one or the other. That's all that's going to happen. So today we're going to dive into the second secret, which is the words that we speak. The words that we speak. So the words are powerful. Now, I grew up hearing this phrase, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words, you know the rest, will never hurt me. That's a lie. Isn't it? It is totally a lie, completely a lie. Words are powerful. Buddha said it very well, that words have the power to destroy or heal. Look at the power of this dichotomy here. Words have the power to destroy or heal. Wow. When words are both true and kind, they can change our world in a positive direction. One of my teachers shared this proverb with me many years ago, and he said, follow this Arabian proverb, that the words of the tongue should have 3 gatekeepers. Is it true? Is it kind? And is it necessary? Now, satisfy all 3 before opening your mouth. When I first learned this proverb, I didn't say much for a while. I really had to check in here to make sure that I was about to satisfy all 3 gatekeepers. Now, another one of my teachers has some very powerful words from his book, The 4 Agreements. Don Miguel Ruiz says, this is the first agreement: be impeccable with your word. Impeccable. Choose your words wisely, meticulously, and carefully. That's impeccable. Speak with integrity. Say only what you mean. Avoid using the word to speak against yourself or to gossip about others. Use the power of your word in the direction of truth and love. Wow. This is the first agreement and absolutely the most difficult agreement to follow. It really is powerful. And to really strive to follow this each and every day, and every moment of every day, is wise. It really is wise. I came across this piece that he wrote also in explaining this agreement, and I thought I would share it with you because it's so powerful, especially pertinent in today's world. The word is pure magic. The most powerful gift we have as humans and we use it against ourselves. We use the word to create hate between different races, between different people, between families, between nations. We misuse the word so often. And this misuse is how we create and perpetuate the dream of hell. Misuse of the word is how we pull each other down and keep each other in a state of fear and doubt. Because the word is magic that humans possess, and misuse of the word is black magic, we are using black magic all the time without knowing that our word is magic at all. Now, you're probably wondering, why is it that Congress did not have me come in to train them when I was in Washington, D.C. last year? They missed the opportunity. Because all leaders need to be trained in this. I train my executive clients and my corporate clients with this wisdom because it's so powerful to understand. So now we look at an important question. When it comes to communication, what contributes or causes poor communication that exasperates us, frustrates us, irritates us, annoys us? So go ahead and write in your chat window really quickly. So this is a communication webinar. Guess what? You have to participate, okay? All right, so go ahead, right? I'm looking for your answers. Go ahead, go. Right, what contributes or causes poor communication in your life? What's been in your experience? Okay, people not listening, great, okay. Misunderstanding, perfect, yeah. Okay, not listening, poor choice of words, yes. Okay, couple more. Limitations to human consciousness, specifically the mental model that we all have. Yeah, very good. Lack of empathy. Yeah, really. And people not expressing gratitude. Feelings and emotions get in the way. When people don't have boundaries in talking, okay, great, stop, very good. Okay, the destruction of the environment, wildlife, yeah, being mad. Okay, stop, really great, really great. Absolutely all valid, okay? Being angry, yeah. Today we have vivid examples of breakdowns in communication and examples of poor communications, okay? This is just from Wednesday, okay? Attachments, being egotistical, not listening, being selfish, lying, threatening, being argumentative, being irresponsible, being righteous, fanaticism. These are all examples of poor communication as a leader. It's vivid and it's right there in front of us. I train leaders in effective communication. So this is an example of poor communication. So now the question is this: what contributes or causes effective communication in your experience, in your life? So go to your chat window again. What contributes to excellent, effective communication? Okay, go ahead, type it in. All right, I will read them out. Okay, so calm minds, honesty, active listening, empathy. Yeah, very good. What else? Listening, being open-minded, able to listen and try to see different points of view. Yeah, different views, paying attention. Okay. All right, thinking about the other person's feelings, truth, open mind. Yeah, being present. Fabulous answers, really fabulous. Striving for a win-win. Yes, absolutely. Okay, so stop there. Fabulous answers. Great. Walking in the other person's shoe, fantastic. Stop with your answers, fantastic. Now this slide has some C's, so communication. So the C's of communication: completeness, conciseness, correctness, consideration, clarity, courtesy, and concreteness. Fabulous, okay? Really fabulous things that contribute to effective communication. I love what the Dalai Lama has to say. He's one of my favorite teachers as well. A compassionate attitude helps you communicate more easily with your fellow human beings. As a result, you make more genuine friends, and the atmosphere around you is more positive, which gives you greater inner strength. This inner strength helps you spontaneously concern yourself with others instead of thinking only about yourself. Yeah, they need me in Washington, don't they? Yeah, they do. So now I want to ask you another question. All right, so go to your chat window again. So the question is this: what does the word communication mean to you? All right, no right or wrong answers here. It's just, what does the word communication mean to you? What does that mean? Okay, so go ahead, write your answers in the chat window. Okay, two-way interaction, sharing, art of connection, very good. Exchange of ideas and emotions, a dialogue between people, speaking and listening, a dialogue to come to an understanding, sharing understanding, trading thoughts and feelings back and forth, learning. Yes, all great answers, everyone. Fabulous, really, really fabulous. Thank you for sharing. All wonderful. So let's stop here. So really great. Everything you shared, completely valid, wonderful responses. Thank you. So I've been studying different words, but because of a friend of mine, Kevin Hall, he's a word nerd. He is really a word nerd to the nth degree. And he studies words and he studies the origins of words. So it's very interesting when you study the word communication to look at the derivation of that word, communicare in Latin. Okay, so communication means, in Latin, it means to share or form a common union. So that's the origin of the word communication. Very fascinating, isn't it? So the process in psychology, now I taught psychology at the university level for 3 years. And so one of the things that I taught was the process of communication. And so in psychology, we look at the process, 3 steps that are necessary. So one is that the person who's going to be the messenger has to come up with a way of codifying the concept or notion or idea that he wants to transmit to the other person. So that he or she, so that person now, the sender, needs to be able to come up with an idea. Okay, how do I express this in a way that will hopefully be understood over there in the receiver's world, in the receiver's mind? All right, so there's a codification that occurs first in the head, and then is the sending or transmission of the message. So that's the second step. But then there has to be the receiver being able to decodify the concept or idea and the word that's been received, and to hopefully come up with the same picture, the same idea. Now, it's interesting though, because if we say if I say the word tree, let's say I'm communicating with my friend George, and if I say the word tree, so I may have a picture in my mind of a tree, but is that going to be the same picture that George has in his mind? Will it necessarily be exactly the same picture? Yeah, chances are it's not going to be exactly the same. I mean, I may say the word tree, but it's not specific enough. It's not clear enough. There's not enough clarity. Now, if I look outside my window and I say, a 65-foot white oak tree that has lost all its leaves. Now, it's a much more specific very clear picture that I'm able to communicate. And George probably has a pretty good idea, a much closer idea in his mind about what I'm communicating to him as far as what this tree looks like. All right, so there's more specifics and specificity, but it goes even beyond that. So in the study of communication from the world of psychology, what we find is that the whole entire communication process, not only is the message encoded and then decoded by the recipient, but the only way that I'm going to know that George actually has received my message is that if I get feedback from him. So this is the part that's oftentimes missing in a lot of people's minds as far as the process of communication, is being able to get the feedback. And so the recipient's able to encode a message and then send it back. But there could be all kinds of barriers that muddy the waters of communication, that get in the way of clarity, get in the way. So what we have to be able to do, our mission, should we choose to accept it, is to be able to achieve clarity, greater clarity in our communication. So clarity creates power and connection. Now, finding clarity requires two things. Two things, very important here. Two things. One, it's eliminating confusion. And secondly, aligning with values. That's what it takes, because no two people actually get the exact same picture. They don't. So we have to really work towards eliminating confusion and aligning with values. Those two things, put them together. Now, what I've learned over the years, that one of the toughest things to do, now eliminating confusion, like one of the things that we can do is try to be more specific, like I did in my previous example, talking about the 45-foot white oak tree that has lost its leaves. So that's more specificity. But aligning with values is a much tougher bill. How do we do that? To create alignment. Now, what I've learned over the years is that there are three major levels of communication interaction, how we can communicate with another person. So these are the three levels. So the first level is communicating from a place of expectation. So expectation is a one-way interaction. It's my communication. So I want to communicate with an expectation. Then the formula that I'm using is, I need you to do X. You should do X. You should do Y. All right. So I'm placing an expectation on another person. Now, sometimes this is appropriate. 3-year-olds, for instance, pick up your toys now. Put your toys away now. Okay, wash your hands now. All right, put your pajamas on now. Put your pajamas on now. Okay, go to bed now. Turn off the light now. Go to sleep now. Go to sleep now. Go to sleep now. It's appropriate with a 3-year-old. Sometimes it's perfectly fine. But you don't want to be communicating with your child when they're 18 in the same way. It doesn't go so well. Okay? So the second level of communication interaction is agreement. Now, agreement is when we have two people or more coming to the table together. And what they do is they work out an agreement. They make a compromise. And the formula for an agreement is, I agree to do X. And the other person, I agree to do Y. So there is an agreement between the two people coming together. So they each agree to do their part to make the situation better. So that's an agreement. Now, that is better than expectation in most circumstances, and it's certainly more appropriate in many circumstances. However, it also leaves room for doubt. Doubt, because sometimes you wonder, you make an agreement, And you say, well, I don't know if this other person's going to really do what they said they're going to do. Well, I don't know if I can really do what I said I'm going to do. So there is the space for doubt in an agreement. And so it leaves room for not being able to really perform as well. But it's better. And it certainly is better in working with teenagers. Yes, it is. The third level of communication interaction is the highest form, and that is alignment. Now, this is something that most of us don't get training in, but alignment is about a whole different level of communication. It's about being able to come to the table with whatever points of view that we have and being able to discuss them openly with absolutely no resentment, no negative energy, like really being acceptance, having acceptance of each other, complete and total acceptance, no negating, complete support and love and appreciation of each other. Being able to come to the table with whatever points of view we have, no matter what. And then being able to discuss them and ask questions and being curious. And then when we get done, what we want to be able to do in creating alignment is that we come to a common place where we can actually all grab one rope and pull in one direction. One direction. This is extraordinary. And this is what I've helped so many of my organizations to actually do. It's amazing when people actually come together and learn to interact with each other with healthy debates and healthy communication, respectful with dignity and respect, and being able to share and voice each other's points of view completely, openly, and honestly with total acceptance, and then come to a workable solution because together everyone can accomplish more. And there is so much power in the collective consciousness. There is no power in divisiveness whatsoever. And when we can come together with this collective consciousness and then agree and commit, it's more than agreement, we can actually commit. Like we commit to grab one rope and pull in one direction. Wow. Now you're probably thinking, why isn't it that I have not trained the congressional leaders in Washington yet? Yes, I couldn't agree with you more. Okay, this is what we need to be able to do, is get away from our division. We need to create alignments. Alignment. So that's the context. Now let's look at why we don't listen. So let's talk about listening, because in order for us to create alignment, first of all, we got to be able to listen to each other. We've got to. But as Stephen Covey said, who wrote The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, most people do not listen with the intent to understand. They listen with the intent to reply. Now, this is fascinating. Watch people having a conversation with each other, and one person is speaking and the other person is not paying attention to what the speaker is saying. What they're doing is they're listening to themselves and listening to what they're going to say the moment the speaker shuts up. That's how we operate. That's how we operate as human beings. Why do we do that? Well, there's actually a reason for that. Yeah, in psychology, we explain this because what we have is something going on all the time that we're not paying attention to, and it's called our self-talk. We're always talking to ourselves. Always. You're doing it right now. God, the audacity. Really? Come on now. I mean, so the thing is, we're always talking to ourselves. Now, I can speak audibly at about 100 to, maybe 100 and 150 words per minute. The really fast ones are going really fast, okay? But we talk to ourselves constantly at about 300 to 450 words per minute. You get up at 2 o'clock in the morning and go to the bathroom. Guess what? There it is, okay? It's always on. Now, a lot of times we're having conversations with ourselves. Sometimes we're just listening to ourselves. Sometimes we're listening to an entire committee. Have you noticed? Okay, so the thing is, it's always there. And sometimes we're having arguments with ourselves. We get upset, we get emotional. We get, oh, this person said this, how dare they? We go on and on. We have this entire tirade about what somebody else said or did. And we get exhausted and we get stressed. Yes, we do. So consider that anytime we're annoyed, frustrated, irritated, angry, upset, it's not about them. It's our own subconscious mechanism that's going on, our self-talk that's going on. Now, next Sunday's webinar, do not miss it, because I'm going to take a deep dive into this subconscious mechanism. I'm going to be unraveling and revealing for you your subconscious map that holds you back in this incredible webinar called Eliminating Self-Sabotage. Do not miss it. It will change your life forever, I promise you. So here's the thing we just got to get for now, is that we don't listen because we've got this going on inside our own heads. Now, with training, with practice, we can learn to displace that little voice that's going on inside our head. The Buddhists call it the monkey mind. Sometimes we call it the chatter. Sometimes we call it the inner voice or the inner child, all right, whatever you want to call it. So what we have to do is we have to first understand the concept of being able to listen. And I love what Stephen Covey said. The fifth habit of 7 habits of highly effective people is seek first to understand. First to understand, then to be understood. But make sure first that you're understanding. Seek first to understand. Oh, if we could just do this, it would completely change the world. Completely. So let's dive into how do we more effectively understand. So let's begin with active as opposed to passive listening. So active listening, there are 3 major elements involved. One is that we're going to listen to the content of what's being spoken, the words, the actual words themselves. So this is the what is being said. Second, we're going to listen for the background, the emotion in the background, the feelings that are going on. So this is how it's being said. And third, we're going to listen to the commitment, the drive, the motivation. What is the why that this person has? So we're going to dive into each one of these. Now, as a tool to help you with being able to visualize the process of active listening, I want to share with you this tool that I learned from one of my friends, Simon Sinek. I'm going to send you his TED Talk, really brilliant work. And he is a speaker extraordinaire. And this is the golden circle. Now, he talks about it in terms of how powerful speakers speak, but it also is a tool for how we can listen. So at the outer ring is where we start in terms of listening to what is being said. So we want to pay attention closely to the preciseness of the words that are being said. Get the words clearly. And a lot of us really have challenges with this. This is not as easy as it sounds. A lot of us make mistakes. Now, I've trained healthcare professionals for such a long time. Let me tell you, this is where mistakes can happen. As my good friend George can attest, I mean, if a pharmacist does not hear the words correctly from a physician on the prescription, things can happen and they're not so good. So it's really important that we get the precision, because the margin of error for a pharmacist is 0. Okay? Secondly, we want to listen for how it's being communicated, the energy, the emotion. That's the middle ring. And then we listen to why it's being said and really trying to do the work. Sometimes it's clear, sometimes it's not so clear. And we may have to do some detective work. So this is a great model. So remember this diagram, draw it out for yourself, paste it up somewhere so you can really use it. It's a very good tool to use to remember this. Now, we're going to dive into each one of these three just a little bit. The first layer that we want to pay attention to is listening for what. So we want to listen for what? Now, we first of all have to recognize, if we're going to improve our communication, we have to recognize that we always have this conversation going on inside of our head, our self-talk. It's always there. It's always there. You will never get rid of it, okay? You will not. But you can displace it. You can displace it. Now, you can do this at home. I'll just describe the exercise, and you can do this with friends, okay? Do it with, by the way, do it with teenagers. It's really good, okay? Helps them learn how to listen better. So the exercise is called the colors exercise. Now, how it goes is like this, that if I'm the communicator, I'm going to focus on basic colors. Keep it limited to just basic colors, all right? Don't go wild and crazy with wild colors, all right? Don't do that. All right, keep it simple, really simple, basic colors. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to face my partner so that we're close to each other, knee to knee. And so I'm going to state the name of a basic color and wait for my partner to repeat the color that I just stated. So if I say blue, they're going to say blue. And as soon as they say it, then I'm going to come up with the next color. Random order, doesn't matter. You can repeat it and just keep on doing this. And you want to do it for about a minute. And you want to try to go as quickly as you can without losing each other. So I'll go blue, blue, red, red, white, white, green, green, red, red, white, white, black, blue, blue. Okay, we just keep going back and forth. It's a fascinating exercise, as simple as this is, because the communicator has to do the work of thinking of what's next, what's the next color, coming up with the colors. With practice, the repeater can actually stay so focused on the person who is communicating that they start to displace their inner chatter, and they're just over there repeating as quickly as possible. And they're saying it almost right on top of the person who's communicating. It gets to be quite extraordinary. You want to practice this. It's a great exercise. You know what? I'm going to have to do a video just on this exercise so I can attach it. I just got that idea. I'm going to write that down right now. I have to write everything down, otherwise I don't remember. Okay, so I'm going to do a video on the colors exercise, and that way I can send it to you, send it actually being demonstrated. But it's a really powerful exercise. In my live seminars, I definitely do this. Okay, so now I need a volunteer. Okay, I need a volunteer. Who can be a volunteer? Okay, so somebody be a volunteer. We're not going to do the colors exercise. I'm going to do another one. Okay, so I'm going to do another exercise. I need a volunteer, very, very brave volunteer. By the way, your bravery will be quite well rewarded. Okay, so no, you can't nominate somebody else. Okay, so okay, who would like to be a volunteer to work with me? Okay, Scott. All right, Scott. Cameron. All right, Scott is my volunteer. All right, Scott, here's what we're going to do. So I'm going to have you work with me. So Scott, unmute yourself.
I'm unmuted.
Okay, very good. All right, so Scott, what we're going to do, we're going to demonstrate another exercise for active listening. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing for a moment so we can, okay, very good. All right, so now, okay, so we're going to stop sharing for a moment. All right, so Scott, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to read an entire sentence. Okay. Your mission is to repeat the entire sentence back to me, word for word.
Okay.
All right. Because real life isn't, blue, blue, red, red, white, white, black, black. green, green. Life isn't like that. That would be strange, right? No, but you need to be able to get the entire sentence. So I'm going to state an entire sentence. All right. When I get done, then it will be your mission to repeat the sentence back to me,
All right.
word for word. Now,
Okay.
if any word is added or deleted, I will then simply say no pass,
All
and
right.
then we will repeat the process.
Okay.
Okay, until you get it correct.
This could take a while. Okay.
Now, Scott, you're an attorney, right?
Yes.
Okay, so it's very important that you listen very well, isn't it?
It's important. Yes.
It's very important, right?
It's very important.
It's extremely important, right?
Yeah. Correct.
Like if you miss something from a witness or you miss something from your clients, I mean, it could be costly, right?
It could be costly. Yes.
So it's important for you to get the precision of everything that's being said. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah. You're adding to the pressure, though, Ruben.
Oh, this is so much fun. Okay, so here is the sentence. Are you ready? Now, you
Yeah.
can't write anything down. You just have
No.
to listen.
But I'm just kind of closing my eyes to make sure I soak it in here.
Okay, so I'm going to read the sentence word for word, and your job is to repeat. Okay. Tell Peter to put 27 red apples and 34 green pears in the 4 paper sacks and distribute them to the 8 waiting waiters.
Tell Peter to put the I don't remember the number, 4 apples and 27 pears into 4 sacks, and you lost me on that.
Okay, no pass. All right, let's try it again. All right, here we go. Tell Peter to put 27 red apples and 34 green pears in the 4 paper sacks and distribute them to the 8 waiting waiters.
Tell Peter to put the 27 apples and certain number of green pears in the 4 sacks and distribute them. Period. This is why we have transcripts. Okay? This is gonna take a while. That's
Really
this has no
great. No,
context
you
for
got
me.
better. You got better. Okay, here we go again. No pass. So let's go again. All right. Tell Peter to put 27 red apples and 34 green pears in the 4 paper sacks and distribute them to the 8 waiting waiters.
Okay. Yeah. Tell Peter to put the 27 apples and 34 green pears into the 4 sacks and distribute them to the 8 waiting waiters. Getting better.
Much better. Okay, no pass, but still better. Okay, good. Good. All right. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Tell Peter to put 27 red apples and 34 green pears in the 4 paper sacks and distribute them to the 8 waiting waiters.
Tell Peter to put the 27 red apples in and 34 green pears into the 4 paper sacks and distribute them to the 8 waiting waiters.
Okay, it's a no pass, but I'm going to stop here because you were good except for just 2 words.
All right.
2 words. So I didn't tell Peter to put. You said into. I didn't say into. So you added a word, and then you added a word also, and distribute them into. I said distribute them to. So you added 2 words. Other than that, you got it. All right. So is listening easy or hard, Scott?
I will never make a good court reporter. It's very hard.
Really great. Really great. Thank you for being my volunteer. Everybody give him a round of applause. Okay, really great. Thank you for volunteering, Scott. That's really awesome. All right, really, really awesome. Okay, really terrific. So that's an example. That's one of the exercises that I do in my live seminar. We get to do that exercise a couple of times. So it's really a powerful process to go through. Let's see here. So I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint. Okay, so thank you, Scott. All right, so let's see. So there it is. Tell Peter to put 27 red apples and 34 green pears in the 4 paper sacks and distribute them to the 8 waiters. All right, so I'm going to go on to the next one. We're not going to do that one. All right, so now the next thing that we're going to talk about is listening for how. How is extremely important. All right. Now, the ancient Greeks were brilliant in being able to really showcase this, because in their tragedies and their comedies, what they did is the characters would actually wear masks that portrayed particular emotions. So they would do that. All right. So they would, the person was happy or joyful or sad or frustrated or angry or whatever. So they would put those emotions on the faces, because we can express our emotions in our facial expressions. Isn't that amazing? I mean, it's amazing that we can do that. And so it's really quite extraordinary. So we do that. And you know what? This is no mystery for any of us. This is no mystery. I mean, we've been learning about the importance of emotion for such a long period of time. In fact, you've been learning about emotions probably since you were a child, because you probably know this story of the 7 dwarfs, right? There's dopey, bashful, sneezy, sleepy, happy, grumpy, and dog. I mean, look, we've been learning about emotions and how they portrayed, how we can portray them. And it's really powerful to see that. In psychology, we have many models for trying to understand human emotion. And it's really important for us to try to understand. So this is one such model. It's the most colorful model. That's why I picked this one. And this is Plutchik's Wheel of Emotions. Now, do not memorize this. Do not even try to figure it all out. Just enjoy the colors, okay? So it's just a beautiful, colorful model. It's just one way we try to make sense of emotions. And a lot of times it's very difficult, especially these days. I mean, we got all these emoticons, right, on our text messaging. We try to go, oh, what's that one mean? I don't know what that one means. I mean, a lot of times I'm trying to figure out what these darn things mean. And so it's really surprising. And sometimes human beings are like that too. Have you noticed that some people, you just can't figure them out? I mean, they're like this, right? I mean, you just can't figure out whether they're happy or sad or angry or delirious. They're just like this, right? Like you can't figure them out. However, it is imperative for us as human beings to try to improve our communication. It's a valiant effort that counts, trying to understand. So this is the second element of active listening, is listening to how the communication is being transmitted to us. So we want to pay attention to that. Now, the third element, which is at the core of active listening, is listening to why. What's the motivation? What's the drive? Now, we probably, I know I date myself, but if you watch The Roadrunner, then why is it that Wile E. Coyote mounted himself on a rocket? Well, it was to catch the roadrunner. That was his why. That was his mission in life, was to catch the roadrunner. So we're all committed to some things. We all are. And sometimes we have to do a little detective work and trying to figure out, why is it, what's important for this other person? Why are they saying what they're saying? Okay, what are they committed to? Now, in psychology, we recognize that human beings basically have two areas of motivation, either fears, or everything associated with fear, or desire, and everything associated with desire. So those are the two camps of motivation. It helps for us, if we're going to be active listeners, to understand human motivation. It really does. So the major fears that we can have as human beings, here are some of the major fears. So the fear of rejection, we're afraid of being excluded instead of being included. A fear of failure, we're afraid of messing up, of not looking good and looking bad. A fear of success, we're afraid of being able to have more responsibility and more burden placed on our shoulders and not being able to enjoy life like we've experienced before. The fear of the unknown, we're afraid of stepping into uncharted territory. We're afraid of uncertainty. Another fear is the fear of being uncomfortable. We get very attached to being comfortable and having our creature comforts and doing things a particular way that we're familiar with. And then another fear is the fear of pain, because we've been hurt before and we don't want to be hurt again. And then another fear is the fear of loss. We get very attached to things or people that we've come to get attached to, and we don't want to lose them. And then another fear is the fear of responsibility. And this is perhaps the most significant fear, because we're afraid of being completely responsible. We don't want to be completely responsible as human beings. No, we want somebody else to take care of all of the other things. We want to be able to go out and play. So it's a very daunting fear. And these fears get established early on in our lives. Most of us have 90% of these fears established by the time we're 7 years old. So make sure you come to my seminar next weekend on next Sunday, and I will be diving into these more deeply. Now, the flip side of the coin in terms of the person's why is their commitments or their desires. Okay, so a lot of times it's masked by fear, concern, or worry. But there could be things at a deeper level, like doing the right thing, which is integrity, or being true to one's values, all right? Like responsibility and generosity and honesty. Or it could be personal growth and development. A person's really committed to becoming a better human being, or to making a difference, being a contribution to others. Really important value and really important why and desire. And then being responsible, especially somebody who's a parent, and being responsible for their children, taking care of their children. And then a passion for excellence, and being able to pursue excellence is a very important desire. A lot of people, especially if they're building their business and building their careers, a passion for excellence is a very important desire. And then love for work, for customers, for family. I mean, love is a very powerful desire. And so these are some of the things that can be there. I love this graphic. I saw this, that, commitment can have all kinds of different elements to it and facets to it. And it's beautiful to really understand as much as you can about what's going on in their world. Now, what we've come to is understanding these 3 layers to active listening. Listening to what? Listening to how? And then finally listening to why. So this is the beginning of the process of active listening. All right. So now what we want to be able to do is we want to be able to reflect this information back to the other person. So when we're dynamically listening to people, it's not just that we're listening. It's not just using our ears. There's more. So there are 3 steps to being able to do this well in the active listening process. So this is the process of what's called recreating. So what we want to do is recreate the other person. So step 1, we do the process of active listening. So we listen for the what, the how, and the why. So you visually have that diagram in your head, and you're going to listen for the what, the how, and the why. And you want to get as much clarity about that as you possibly can while you're listening. So you're going to be over there in their world. The next step, the second step, is to reflect. And you reflect back what you understand in your own words. So it'd be weird to say the exact same words that they use. That's strange. So black, black, red, red, blue, blue, green, green. No, we don't want to do that. Okay. Now reflect it back in your own words of what you understand. And you're using language of that you own. So you're not being threatening in any way, shape, or form. This is nonviolent communication type of languaging. There's a lot more to it. And by the way, I'm going to send you information about nonviolent communication. But you're going to say things like, these are examples. These are a couple of examples. Use your own words, but it sounds to me like, and then you share what you understood from the what, the how, and the why. So you reflect it back. Another example could be, I really get that you are, and you can share the emotion, okay? Because this is what happened. And I also understand how important this is to you because, and share the why, the commitment that you can get. So they're just two examples. There is no perfect way of doing this. There's no one way of doing this either. So it's just what's there for you in being able to reflect what you understand to be the what, the how, and the why. It's using your own words to do that. And then the third thing to do is to verify. And you verify by saying something like, is this accurate? Or is there anything else that I'm missing? Did I get that right? Am I understanding you? You know, whatever you want to use, whatever fits that particular situation. Those are just a couple of examples. All right, again, I need another volunteer. Okay, another volunteer. Okay, who will be a volunteer? I need a volunteer, a different volunteer. It can't be Scott. Scott already worked with me. I put him through enough pain already, okay? So all right, volunteer, waiting for a volunteer. Who will be my volunteer? Okay, I need a volunteer. Go ahead and type your name, put it in the chat window if you're gonna be my volunteer. Okay, put in the chat window because I can't see all of you right now, unfortunately. Okay, type in your chat window. I need a volunteer. I need a volunteer. Someone needs to be a volunteer. And your job is easy. Okay, really, really easy. You're not going to do the recreating. I am. Okay, I just want you to help me out. Okay, okay. Somebody volunteer. I need a volunteer. Okay. Is that you, Rebecca, saying that you're volunteering? Hello? Who's that? Is that Rebecca?
Yeah.
Okay. I need anybody that can be seen and volunteer with me. Okay. Who's on camera?
Okay, I'll do it.
Okay, who's that?
I'm Rebecca.
Oh, Rebecca. Okay, great. Rebecca. Wonderful. Okay, so Rebecca, here's what I want you to do. Okay, I'm going to do the hard work.
Okay.
As an example, you get the easy thing. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to think of some situation in this last couple of weeks that irritated you, frustrated you, annoyed you, got you all worked up, and just whatever, okay? There was a lot of energy around it, okay? All right, and you're going to share about that for about 45 seconds, all right? Just 45 seconds, okay? Now, normally I tell people, no, eliminate all complaining, but today I'm giving you a special pass, okay? So I want you to share something that really frustrated you, irritated you about anything, anybody, any situation, yourself, whatever the case may be. All right, you got it?
Yeah.
Okay, let me get my stopwatch out. So let's see here. Okay, so let's see here. Ready? Go.
So about 4 or 5 weeks ago, I signed up for AT&T, and I was supposed to get a certain rate, and they promised me this rate, and it was based on having AARP and Target, and I was supposed to mail in my phones to get the rate, like the old phones, and I did everything I was supposed to do. I did everything on time, and my rate was supposed to be, with all everything was said and done, $188. And my first bill comes and it's $793. And I'm like, are you serious? And I'm like, absolutely outraged. And I'm told that it's because they didn't receive the phones yet. And so I guess they have this huge backlog because of their deals, and everyone's sending in their phones. And
10 seconds, go.
oh, and so supposedly it's all going to get worked out in time, but in the meantime, I get charged these rates, and I have to just wait until they fix it, and I'm still having to pay it, and there's nothing I can do about it.
My goodness. Okay. Oh, Rebecca, I get your frustration. And I can get your anger about all this too. I mean, just like, because they made you a promise, you did everything they asked you to do to get your rate. You did everything and you followed the rules. And your rate was clear. They communicated to you exactly that it was going to be $188. And you show up with a bill with over $700. Like, holy moly, what are they thinking, right? Wow. Wow. Like, I really get how frustrating that is for you. And I completely get that. And, and I also get that it doesn't seem right for you. Like, it doesn't seem right. It doesn't seem right that they're asking you to pay for it in the meantime when it was their mistake, not yours, right? Yeah. So am I getting this right? Am I understanding you correctly? Yeah. Yeah. So did you feel like I listened to you, Rebecca?
Yes.
Yeah. So what does it feel like for you to actually be listened to about this situation?
Heard, I guess.
Yeah, you feel heard.
I'd like you to fix it. I'd like you to be AT&T and fix
I
it.
wish I could. And you wish that somebody at AT&T could do at least what I did with you just now, right? You're probably thinking that. Yeah. Yeah. This is one of the things I train. This is why I train companies on communication and being able to do this, exactly what we just talked about, because this begins the process of being able to resolve problems appropriately and being able to do it correctly. So consider this, my friends. So first of all, thank you, Rebecca. Thank you for participating with me and helping me. So I just gave that example so that people could understand what this process is like. And it takes practice to do this. So everybody thank Rebecca. Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you for participating. So I really appreciate that. Really great. Consider this, my friends, that when you practice this process of recreating, you can give people a tremendous gift. Because how often do we get heard? Hardly ever. Hardly ever. Okay, men, take careful note. This is a chapter from my male. By the way, I'm going to do a seminar, a special seminar coming up in March or April, and it's going to be for the men on connecting with the women, okay? All right, men, take very careful note. You learn how to do this, it will make a world of difference in your world of connecting with your woman. I promise you, it makes a world of difference. So it really is important that we all learn how to do this. Doesn't matter what gender. So it really does. So it is a tremendous gift. So my invitation to all of you is to really practice this. And I've had people practice this and go leave the seminar and actually practice with their son or their daughter or their grandfather or their uncle and completely heal a relationship by being able to practice doing this exact process. And it's amazing. It really is amazing. So this begins the process of healing and being able to really create a thriving, healthy, happy life, because our relationships they get stressed, and they get stressed because we're not listening to each other. And so if you take the leadership position in creating a space for being able to listen to another human being, to really listen to them, that, my friends, is an act of love. It's an act of love and powerful acceptance, because most of us never get it. We don't get this. We don't receive this. So this is a gift that you can offer to someone else, and it's profound. It is profound. Okay, so the simplicity. I just want to give you the words to focus in on. You can write these down if you want, that's fine, but I'm going to send you all the slides. What, how, why. Remember the diagram. And then 3 more words. Listen, reflect, verify. What, how, why. That's step 1. Listen, reflect, verify. So memorize these words, say them over and over again, so that way it's just ingrained in your mind, so that anytime you're listening to somebody, you're going to remind yourself what, how, why. Listen, reflect, verify. It will change your life, I promise you. It really will. I have been practicing this for years. It has made a profound difference. It really has. I have an incredible relationship with my 4 sons because I've practiced this with them. A lot of people are amazed. What do you mean you have teenagers and they're actually happy to be around you? What? This is true. Okay. So my 20-year-old actually loves being able to spend time with me and have me coach him in swimming. I coach my youngest son in swimming. Why? Because I practice this as one of the tools in my parenting toolbox, and it makes a profound difference. So that's the invitation for you. And remember this, I love this one from Ernest Hemingway. When people talk, listen completely. Completely. What, how, why, listen, reflect, verify. Okay, listen completely. That's the complete process. Most people never listen. It sets you apart. Let me tell you, my friends, it's extraordinary to be able to be someone who listens to others. Really is. It's extraordinary. And I love this one from the Dalai Lama. Oh, this one's one of my favorites. When you talk, you are only repeating what you already know. But if you listen, you may learn something new. I always loved the Dalai Lama. Great sense of humor about everything in life. Yeah, really great. Okay, so now we move to the second thing that we want to talk about, which is the language of accountability. Now, this is a skill that will really make a difference. Now, if you have responsibility and interacting with other people, then this is a valuable, valuable skill set. And it comes from this great book. It doesn't come from it, but the thing is, I use this book in being able to explain the language of accountability. So who will do what by when? It's a great, great book. It's told in story form, easy to read, simple, and a beautiful, beautiful story. So how to improve performance, accountability, and trust with integrity. So the story is about a young executive, and he has challenges in his personal life and his relationship and at work with his team. And he seeks out the advice of his old baseball coach, who teaches him the language of integrity and accountability. Fabulous story, really great. So I'm going to give you the highlights from the book. So it begins by understanding the first step, and that is being clear about the gap, the difference between where things are now and where we want them to be. What is that gap and why is that important? And then we have to come up with a clear declaration, a statement of commitment of what needs to get done. We need to move from point A to point Z, all right? Being very clear. And then shape and craft a request statement. a request statement. So a request, the formula is I request that you do X task by Y time frame. X task by Y time frame. Now it's very important. You want to always have the X and the Y. Have them both. Really important. Now, you make that request. This is the first step, most important. Clarity, clarity, clarity. And now you have only 4 responses that are acceptable. Only 4. Okay, now ideally you can deal with, yes, I will do X by Y. That's great. Okay, completely wonderful response. Yeah, great. But you can negotiate with the other 3. No, I will not do X by Y. Okay, you can negotiate with that. Why is that? What's going on? What's in the way? A counter response, I can do X task by a different time Z, or I can do a W task by the same time frame of Y instead. Okay, you can negotiate with that one too. Find out all the particulars. Okay, or a delayed commitment. I can't answer confidently right now, but I will let you know by a different time T, Friday at 3 o'clock. All right, you can negotiate with that as well. So these are the negotiable, acceptable responses that you can work with. You cannot work with vague, misleading responses. Gee, I don't know. I'll get back to you. Let me see. Well, sometime. Yes, yeah, sure, maybe. Those don't work. All right. People do this all the time. You say, yeah, we should get together soon. Yeah, when is soon? When pin it down. Pin it down, get an exact X and a Y. All right, so let's do that. Now, what we're out to do is create promise statements with people. Really important. So a promise is a commitment to a future action in a very specified time frame. All right, so there's the action and there's the time. So you've got to have both. Really important. Now, what I've learned, Stephen Covey taught me this as well, is that personal power and success are determined by your ability to make and fulfill promises. Really is. So we become a more powerful human being by being able to really fulfill on our promises. Make promises and fulfill them. Really makes a difference. Now, if somebody makes a promise to us, like if somebody makes a promise to me, it's imperative that I acknowledge them and thank them. All right. So recognize and express gratitude. Sometimes, and that doesn't have to be lavish, it could be just simple. You know, sometimes it's a thank you card. Sometimes it's just as simple as saying thank you. I appreciate that. It's simple, but just it is imperative that we acknowledge. Sometimes I've worked with CEOs and executives that have expectations that people do their job. That's part of their job description. You made a request and they did it, and you said, and they never acknowledge their people. I said, you're going to lose people. The number one reason that you lose good people is not because of a lack of money. It's because of a lack of acknowledgement and appreciation. That's the number one reason why you lose good people that work for you. All right, so it's really important. Now, if I make a promise, then I need to recognize that I may not be perfect in keeping all of my promises, but I can always honor my word. I can always honor my word, and I can be in communication as soon as I know I won't keep a promise or won't keep it on time. As soon as I know, if something comes up, because life happens, right? We can be on the phone and say, you know what, this is what happened, and I won't be able to get there. I just wanted to let you know, and so I want to make a new promise, and I'm going to meet you at this time. So we can always honor our word. Now, if you break a promise, it's imperative. It's a sign of strength, not weakness, to admit and apologize. Absolutely. And then to ask about and get the impact of the broken promise, because a lot of times we don't know what happened over there in their world. And then, yes, take responsibility and make amends as needed. Yeah. And then make a new promise. This is what I teach leaders, and it really makes a powerful difference when they practice this. Now, if someone breaks a promise to you, you do have a right to complain only on the following circumstances are met. Okay, only if you are the one originally that got the promise. Okay, Okay, and then only if you can complain to the person who can address the issue. Okay, they made the promise to you. And only if you're feeling level-headed and centered, only if you're calm. If you're angry, upset, irritated, annoyed, no, it will not work. Get a hold of yourself first. So really important conditions. Very important that these are satisfied first and foremost. Now your agenda for the meeting, okay, for an effective complaint session, 6 points. Number 1, ask for a time to talk in private. Do not do this publicly. Do not do this in front of other people and embarrass them. No, don't do that. Ask for a time to talk in private. Now, once you get together, first thing you do is check your facts. Verify the promise that you understood that they made to you. Ask them, my understanding is that you were going to get me the P&L statement by Friday at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Is that what you understood? Okay, verify their understanding. Next thing is you ask for an explanation with this very powerful 2-worded question. What happened? Do not come at them with, why did you do this to me? How could you possibly think of doing that? No, don't do that. That doesn't go well. Okay, just simply ask what happened. What happened? Now, I've learned to ask that question many, many times. All right, I still remember one very important situation. So it was a couple of years ago. My son, number 3, was a freshman at Cabrillo Junior College. And so it was in the middle of the day, and Gabriel, I see, he calls me. That's a little odd. He normally didn't call me in the middle of the day. So I picked up the phone. I said, Gabriel, and he says, Dad, I just knew. That tone of voice, I just knew. So my next words were, what happened? Sure enough, he ran into somebody with my car, okay? So anyway, learn to ask that question. It's a great question. Then next thing is to communicate the impact of the broken promise. There's a breakdown as a result of the broken promise. Then make a new request based on the new information that you have, because sometimes you get information that leads you to a new understanding. Don't create stories in your head. Okay, you want to find out what happened, communicate the impact, and then make a new request, and then request a new promise. It goes really well. Now, another tool that I use that is very, very effective in being able to deal with situations that are contentious is a tool, and it's based on nonviolent communication, and it's been modified. I modified it. It's my invention. So it's called the communication pentagon. I added one more piece. In nonviolent communication, they use something called the communication cube. I use the communication pentagon. So it's using language where I own the communication. I'm not being threatening. I'm not being contentious. I'm not being accusatory in any way, shape, or form. So here's what I notice. Here's what I observe. Here's what I see. That's the first thing I'm going to do. I'm going to present the facts from my point of view. Okay, it's my perspective. Here's what I noticed. And now I'm going to invite a dialogue too, by the way. So there's the flip side of this coin. So after I share what I notice, observe, and see, I'm going to ask, what do you notice? What do you see? What do you observe? So I'm going to ask for them. So it's a dialogue, all right? So we're interacting here, okay? And then the next thing I'm going to share is what I think. Here's what I think are the reasons contributing to the problem. Here's what I think is at the source of this. Here's what I think. What do you think? Okay, we flip it around. Okay, so it's a dialogue. All right, so then here's the next thing. I say, what do I feel? Here's what I feel. This is the impact on me. What I feel might be the impact on you. What might be the impact on everyone else. Here's what I sense. This is my feelings on this. And then what do you feel? Okay, so it's a dialogue. Again, it's very powerful to go through this. The next step, this is where this is what I've added to the process, is what I see is missing. So now I'm shifting gears of looking at the problem, and now I'm looking at the solution. Here's what I see is missing that could actually make a difference in some potential solutions. And then once I share my point of view, I flip it around again. All right, what do you see as missing? What could contribute to the solution to this situation? And then finally, here's what I request. Based on everything that we've talked about, here's what I would like to ask. Here's what I'd like to see us do. And your purpose here is to create a win-win situation where everybody wins. So what do you agree with my request? Do you have any counteroffers? Do you have any other suggestions? What do you suggest? So this is a very valuable tool. I have taught my executive clients to use this in so many very difficult situations. It has been an invaluable tool, really works well, an excellent tool. So in practicing the language of accountability, practice the mindset of the Beatitudes, all right? So be a team player, be authentic, be caring, be respectful, be powerful, and be compassionate. And I love this quote from Rumi. When we practice loving kindness and compassion, we are the first ones to profit. Isn't that beautiful? All right, so that's the second thing that we wanted to cover. The final thing that we're going to talk about are the languages of appreciation. So valuable when it comes to improving the quality of our relationships and improving our lives. So I learned something a long time ago. My parents taught me the importance of the golden rule. So the golden rule, you probably already know it, I'm sure you already do, is do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Now, I learned that, and I've always thought that that was a good rule, and I always tried to practice that rule. I thought it was a good rule, and I practiced it, and I still think it's a good rule. But I learned something a while back that the golden rule, as good as it is, it's actually flawed. There's a flaw in the rule. Yeah, it's got a flaw. It's a good rule, perfectly good rule, don't get me wrong, but there's a flaw in it because it assumes that other people want the same things you want. Interesting, right? But other people experience conflict over their preferences and feelings all the time. So they may not want what you want, okay? So there has been, I've discovered that there has been an upgrade to the golden rule. Did you know that? I didn't know that. I go, what? Really? An upgrade to the golden rule? Yes, it is referred to as the platinum rule. So the platinum rule is do unto others as they would want done to them. It's not about you. Well, okay then, this makes sense. It is very powerful to really understand this. So I'm going to refer you to two books, not one, but two that are really powerful, that really are a demonstration on how to practice the platinum rule. So the first book is this book, The 5 Love Languages. If you're in any kind of relationship whatsoever, you should absolutely master these 5 love languages. And then for the workplace, I love this book. It was after the 5 love languages was written, and it's the 5 languages of appreciation in the workplace. Fantastic, great material. Now, the 5 languages, a lot of people, I asked them, I read that book. And then I asked them, what are the 5 languages? And they've forgotten already. So I want to just remind you what the 5 languages are. So here they are. So first are tangible gifts. Yes, some people love getting gifts. I mean, they love getting the Starbucks gift card. They love getting the tickets to the basketball game or the concerts or whatever the case may be. They love those kinds of things. That just lights them up. But not everybody. Now, some people would rather spend quality time with you, spending deep, meaningful conversations with you. That's more meaningful for them. But some people, they need to hear it. They need to hear the words of affirmation saying, thank you, I appreciate you, you mean a lot to me, whatever the case may be. But some people still need to feel it. They need to feel that physical connection, whether it's a hug or fist or a high five or a fist bump, whatever the case may be. Of course, it's more difficult today because of COVID. but this too shall pass. But people need to feel it, and it always needs to be appropriate, of course. But for some people, they need to experience acts of service, of you contributing and supporting them in what they're doing and that what they're up to. And you're working shoulder to shoulder with them in some way, shape, or fashion. So it makes a difference. So these are the 5 languages of love or appreciation. And what we've shown in the research is that we are usually wired to have 1 or 2 of these languages as the most predominant. Now, I know there's some people who say, well, I want them all. Yeah, great, but there are 1 or 2 that are the most important and most predominant. So we want to discover the other person's languages of appreciation or love. We want to do that. So in order to determine those languages, so there's a couple things that we can do. 1, there's actually an online survey. So the management by appreciation inventory for the workplace, or the 5 love languages assessment for personal relationships. But also you can pay attention indirectly to how they express appreciation to others, because most of us, what we do is we appreciate others in our love languages. All right, and then what do they request most often? What do they want? What are they looking for? You know, I wish I could just spend time with George. That would be really great if I could just spend a few minutes with him. Oh, okay, quality time. And what do they complain about not getting, especially that? What do they complain about not getting? You know, so you never bring me any gifts anymore. You know, okay, so tangible gifts. All right, so that's what happens there. So we want to pay attention. Now you can also have a sense of humor about all of this, and I always love this, because if you forget the 5 love languages, all you have to do to remember the 5 love languages is simply remember tacos. Tacos, yes, tacos. You're thinking, what's tacos have to do with the 5 love languages? Well, Joshua Perez puts it well. Words of affirmation. Oh, darling, your tacos are delicious. Okay, acts of service. Oh, my dear, I made you these tacos just for you. Okay, receiving gifts. Oh, here's a taco I got just for you from our favorite taqueria. Okay, quality time. Oh, let's go out for tacos together, shall we? Okay, and then physical touch, my favorite. Oh, let me hold you like a taco. So just have a sense of humor about it all. You'll remember, it'll be fun. But don't forget that a person's greatest emotional need is to feel appreciated. Feel appreciated. People, we all need to feel appreciated, every single one of us. So I've loaded you up today with lots of practices in my Communication 101, all right? This is the beginning. So we've talked about some very important practices. 1 is active listening. Remember those 6 words: what, how, why, listen, reflect, verify. Secondly, we talked about the language of accountability, being clear about who will do what by when, all right, being clear. And then third is the languages of appreciation in practicing the platinum rule. So remember, it's about them, it's not about you. If we practice these practices, then what we can learn to do is to really create a dynamic partnership in our relationships. And to me, I've learned so much about relationships from being a salsa dancer for 20 years. So with the right person, yes, I can do this. Yes, I can. Yeah, but I don't do it right away. All right, it doesn't happen overnight. It takes practice. And you've got to practice this, but it's extraordinary when you actually do practice. You can create amazing connection in your relationships, and it's a fabulous thing. And when you do that, you're going to be more in the parasympathetic state. Your stress will go down, and you will live a longer, thriving, more healthy life. And that's so valuable for all of us. So now let's talk about the last thing. What will it take for you to be able to live the best of your life for the rest of your life? So we want to do that. So my question is this. So would you like to make the rest of your life the best of your life? My hope is that your answer is a resounding yes. Now, just take a moment and imagine what would that look like for you if you were actually living your best life? If you were living your best life, what would that look like for you? Would it be like these people who are in their 60s, 70s, and 80s who are having a dynamic and incredible active life? Would it be that you would be having a life filled with health and energy and vitality and fun and dancing on the beaches of all the wonderful places in the world? So would you want that? I hope so. That's what I'm planning for myself. But the question is this: where are you now? Are you there yet? Chances are you're not. So if you're not there, how will you get from where you are now to where you want to be? And just like anything in life, you need a plan, right? From wherever you are to wherever you want to get to, you need a plan. So do you have a plan? But more importantly, do you have a plan that's actually proven to work? Chances are you don't. Most people do not. They just don't. I do. I actually do. And it's because of what happened in my life. Because 26 years ago, I was 55 pounds heavier than you see me today with high blood pressure, high cholesterol, high blood sugar. I had issues. I didn't care. I was depressed. I had ruptured my Achilles tendon 4.5 years earlier. And so I got into a place where I just didn't care anymore. So I ate all the junk food and it was obvious. It was obvious what I was doing. So one day my friend walked up to me. Now he knew me. He knew me fairly well. He knew me for several years before I ruptured my Achilles tendon. And he walked up to me that day while I'm coaching my swimmers on deck. And he said, "Getting a little chubby there, Ruben." Then he turned and walked away. Oh, I was mad. Oh, I got so mad. Like I was fuming. I had a buttermilk donut in my hand. I'm not kidding you. I wanted to throw it at him, but I didn't want to waste the donut. Now, if you can feel me, you're now my official friend, okay? So the thing is, I got really mad. First at him, but then at me. Because I had to come to the realization that I had done it to myself. It wasn't him, it wasn't mom, it wasn't dad, it wasn't my ex-wife. Nobody else had done it to me except me. That was a powerful, humbling moment. And in that space, I realized that I had done it to myself. And if it is to be, it's up to me. I need to change my life. So I took complete responsibility for my life. Fortunately for me, I had a way of being able to change my life. I had done so much as a collegiate athlete and as a coach to learn the basic steps of how to do the hard work. So I invoked my 4-point plan. Here is my 4-point plan. So the first step is to begin from within. Einstein said, the significant problems we face cannot be solved at the same level of thinking we were at when we created them. And so I had to begin from within. Next Sunday, I'm going to teach you the process of being able to rewire your subconscious and change your mindset. Don't miss it. Secondly, we need to have a proven strategy because Einstein said doing the same things over and over again, expecting different results is the definition of, insanity. Okay, so we need a proven strategy, evidence-based, please. Okay, something that's actually proven. Well, I'm living proof, okay, that this works. Third, we need support and accountability. Nobody, and I mean nobody, is successful by themselves. Nobody graduated from high school with no teachers and no books, okay? All right, so let's be straight about this. All right, so we need that support and accountability. And fourth, we need a track record of consistency in order to develop the habits that we need to be successful. And habits produce results. Habits produce results. So this is my 4-point plan. It works in sports, it works in business, and guess what? It works in health. No mystery. So just a couple of minutes to tell you what I do. I do lifestyle medicine consultations for people one-on-one. Some people want to get started. This is a great place to get started. I work with you to help you to really identify a plan and create a plan for you in a comprehensive lifestyle medicine plan. We look at all the areas that are important to improve the quality of your life. You get a personalized plan just for you. All right, this is my friend John. Here he is. He worked with me, and here he is after 4 years of working with me, 75 pounds lighter, and all his cardiac blood markers are completely healthy. He was on death's doors, on the doorstep. All right, so that's what I do. That's one thing I do. So that's individual. I also do individual coaching as well. I also have a group program. This is coming up in February. It's phenomenal. It is the only truly transformational lifestyle medicine program on the face of the planet. All right, and what I do in this program, what we do is we spend 2 weekends together doing an intensive, and then that's followed by 12 weeks of small group interaction and coaching over the course of 12 weeks to provide the support and accountability so that you transform an area of your life that's important to you to get started. It is absolutely imperative, impactful in your life. It's great. So I cover a lot of material. The first weekend we go in to change your mindset, your thinking, your attitude, your consciousness, and your awareness. All right, we do that. The second weekend, I set you up for success in your lifestyle habits. And then the most important thing, I teach you the science of habits, and I get you started on goal setting in a very effective goal setting process. And then we set you up for the 12-week follow-up. It's amazing. People produce amazing results. Here's just one of my students. This is Donna. When she first started in my program, she was over here in April 2018. Now, she's a retired nurse. She had been plant-based already for 8 years. And she lost some weight, but she was struggling. And she said, Ruben, I got issues with blood pressure, and I'm still on some medications, and I can't get this weight off. So with the program and doing the program, what we were able to do was fine tune her lifestyle in several different areas. And it really made a difference. So here she is, January 2020. This is a year ago, 70 pounds lighter. She said, that's it, I've lost enough weight. And she is completely living her best life. I just pulled this up the other day. This is the other day. 10-mile walk through Fair Oaks Village in the American River Bike Trail. She's walking at 69 years of age. She's walking 10 miles a day, sometimes even more. She's up to over 250 miles since December 1st, I think it is. So she's doing amazing. And if you ask her, she will tell you she is living her best life now. She really is. She will tell you that. Look at that smile. All right, really amazing. In addition, I also do lifestyle medicine immersion programs in the workplace for organizations. It is phenomenal. So this is an extensive program. We do 2 12-week programs back to back, and we do a half a year program. It's phenomenal. And so I bring this into the workplace. Okay, and then here's my contact information. Don't worry, I'm going to send you all the slides and all the information. Okay, so now I want to go to questions of anything. You can feel free to unmute yourself. Okay, I'll look at the chat windows. Are there any questions this evening? Okay, let's see. Rebecca, I'm going to go back to you. Oh, there's a question here from Rebecca. Back to the how. Do you think it is possible to overthink trying to understand where a person is coming from? Yeah, people do it all the time. Yeah. So sometimes I try to read people and it seems like they are mad, but that is my own fear of rejection. And I'm bringing that into the conversation, and they are not mad at all. They just might be busy. It's really hard to read people. Yes, it is. That's why it takes a lot of practice. And it really takes a lot of practice doing the first thing. I'm glad you brought up that question, because what we have to do is we have to get out of our heads and be just totally over there with no attachment, no expectations, no obligations, no stories. So that's the hard thing. And this takes practice. So you're absolutely correct. It is. So don't try to read people with your interpretation. Just listen. Just listen. And again, this takes practice. It takes practice because you're going to get it wrong. I promise you, you're going to get it wrong at first, and you're going to get better as you continue to practice. So really great. All right. Anybody else want to ask questions? Unmute yourself. Anything at all? Anything? You are on. This is your time for you. I'll stay and I'll answer any questions that you have. This is a great topic. Okay. Any questions? Come on, come on, be brave, be brave. Unmute yourself, ask away. Come on. You got me, pick my brain, come on.
Not watching the news.
Yes.
That seems really irresponsible. I don't
Great.
watch the news, but I do seek out what's going on in the world, and I'm pretty involved.
Got that. Yeah. So here's what I learned from Norman Cousins, who wrote the book, The Anatomy of an Illness. Now, it's really profound. And by the way, I should include him in the follow-up email. I'm writing a note to myself. Okay, so very good. So one of the things that when he spoke about this, it rattled my brain. It really did. So he really talked about that illness is facilitated by negative energy. So anytime we're around listening to complaining, listening to problems, listening to issues, listening to anything else that's going on in the world, then what we're doing is we're absorbing all that negative energy, and it's putting our body in the sympathetic state. And it's instantaneous. We have no control over that. Our body is reacting to it. So what happens is that we don't realize that we're putting ourselves into the sympathetic state, and that's leading to dis-ease, which is the common thread of all chronic disease. So it's not being irresponsible. It is actually the reverse. It's being completely responsible for one's health and one's life, to not listen to the news. Now, you'll find out what's going on that you need to know, but it really will not make a difference in the quality of your life and being responsible for your life by listening to the news every night, like my parents do. Like my parents listen to the news 3 times a day.
Yeah, I wasn't talking about, I don't even have a TV.
Okay.
I'm talking about being involved in making the world a better place.
That's
Sometimes
perfectly appropriate.
I'm exposed to negative stuff.
Yeah.
And I accept that. And I do have limits of what I will look at and hear.
Yeah, very good. Very good. Yeah, make a difference. Make a difference in your way that makes a difference. That's what you want to keep doing. So keep doing that. Really great. Okay, who else? Other questions? Let's see. All right. Oh, let's see here. I'll go to the chat window. What if you only have limited time? Are there shortcuts to better communication? You know, everybody wants shortcuts. Really great question. Really great question. You know, the shortcut is to really listen. That's the shortcut, is to just really listen. Most people don't want to do that. See, seek first to understand, then to be understood. See, the Stephen Covey talks about, you know, everybody wants to go quickly to, I want you to understand my point of view first. And so that's where we get into trouble. So it's really about being able to step into seek first to understand. So the greatest shortcut is to understand first. That is the greatest shortcut. So I hope that makes sense. So think about it. I mean, if you really think about it, when we don't listen to other people and we try to take shortcuts in getting our point across, we actually make the communication process longer and more painful, more stressful. That's what ends up happening. You know, it's like a salesperson wanting to tell you all the features of their products. And as soon as you walk in the door, all right, you walk in the door and say, and he asks one question, what are you looking for? As soon as you tell him one thing, and now he's got a tirade of things to tell you. And so he's spouting off all of these things over and over, and he's just bending your ear, but he doesn't listen to you. He hasn't even asked you, why is this important to you? What does it matter to you? So it makes the whole process more painful and longer still. So I hope that resonates for you. Any other questions? Any other questions? All right. Questions going once, going twice, 3 times sold. All right, so here's the last thing I want to just share. Please, 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 please share this information with others. Please share it. I'm out to change the world. I need your help. I can't do it by myself. So please, my request is that you will share it. Please raise your hand if you're willing to share what I'm going to send to you. All this information. Yes, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you. I love you. I care about you. I want the world to be a better place. Thank you so much for being here. And I will be sending you information shortly. I'll send you the recording. I'll send you all the slides. I'll send you lots of resource information. I love being able to do this. Please be sure to be back with me next Sunday. My seminar is register for it as soon as you can. Eliminating self-sabotage. It's phenomenal. Check out all my programs. Check out all my services, what I have to offer. If you're interested in being involved, just let me know. Reach out to me. I'll take good care of you. All right. Thank you so much.